Hi guys, this is Vishal here from DrapCode. So in this video, we will understand how to implement the create and edit flow on a modal popup when we are using Supabase as a backend or as a backend platform, and we are using DrapCode as a front-end builder. So we are creating a series of video where you can see a deep integration with Supabase, where we are implemented the fetching of data, creation of records, deletion, edit, update, pagination, authentication, a lot of things. So basically how to build an end-to-end application on top of Supabase data. So DrapCode as a front-end builder, a UI layer, to note it as persisting in DrapCode. Everything is getting stored in Supabase, and we are making real-time API calls to pull and push data. So let's see how we can implement a create and edit flow in a modal popup using Supabase as a backend and DrapCode as a frontend. So we have this list page where all this data is coming from Supabase, a real-time call, and this is the Supabase table which we have. We have a product which has name, description, price, manufacturing date, and this data is stored here and it is getting displayed on DrapCode. And you can also edit, delete, update, all these things. But this is working in a full-fledged pages. So now we want to basically do it on a modal popup. Okay, so this is an edit page. So let's go and see how that can be done. So we will be building two model, basically two popup, one to create new records and one to edit existing records. Then we will be creating couple of events, event to open a model, both models. So there will be two events, one for each model. Then there will be one common event to close models, and there will be one event each to basically make a API call when the form gets submitted. When the form gets submitted, the data should go to create on Supabase. When the edit form gets submitted, it should update in Supabase. And we will be creating two external APIs or two REST APIs to basically make a real-time call to Supabase. So let's see how that can be done. So let's first implement the create flow. So what we'll do, we'll go to snippets and create a model. So I'll say create new product model. Okay, let's say, and type is modal popup. Bind a collection, which is a product collection. Okay, binding of collection is not needed because we are not showing anything pre-filled as of now, but that's fine. And then just create. Okay, so it has created a blank model for me. Now let's go and drop a collection form. Okay, so the form is here. We don't have any event, so we'll create event in some time. That's fine. So let's just have this. So it is here. So I'll just remove all these things which are not needed. So let's go and create events and create other things which are needed. Okay, so let's go to, so before creating an event, let's create external APIs. Okay, because that is the core of the system. So we need to create an API to basically update or create new records, right? So we already have APIs to create new records. We can reuse them. So let's say we have this create new record in Supabase. So this is an API which is there. We can use them, but just for the sake of this video, let's create it again. Okay, so that you understand how this can be done. So I'll go to external APIs and let's create new API. So I'll say create new product via modal popup on Supabase. So let's say this is the name of my API. Now let's go to the API documentation and see what data needs to be passed and how to call an API. I'll go to Supabase documentation. So this is the API documentation for the project which we have created. There is a table called product, and it has 4 fields called name, description, price, and manufacturing date. And these are the APIs, right? So we will need API to insert row. So this is the API which we have to call. This is the curl, which is basically a post call, and the URL. So let's copy the details. So I'll say product. I'll paste it here. Since this is a post call, I'll leave it as it is. Now let's set the header. So header, it is asking API key. So this is the API key of my project, which you are seeing here pre-filled. So when you will have your project, you will definitely have a different API key. So you can use that. Another is authorization, and with values bearer and the token. So the header is complete. Now we'll say pass the dynamic data which is coming from a non-persisted collection form. So the data is not coming from the DrapCode database, it is coming from a form. So that's why we choose a non-persisted collection, because the data is not persisting, it is just getting wrapped in a product collection, because the create form is a collection form. So here we'll just do the mapping of these 4 fields, manufacturing date, price, name and all, because this is the name which they are expecting. So I'll say whatever the data is coming from the collection form, pass name in the name, which is it. In the description, pass the description, which is description. In the price, pass the price field. In the manufacturing date, pass the manufacturing date. Okay, so this is basically doing a mapping that whatever data is coming from the form, how we need to send it to Supabase. Response, we don't want to process response, so I'll just leave it as it is, and this is done. So I'll just save settings. Okay, now we'll go and create an event. So in the event, it is a simple event. We'll say create new product via modal popup. What we'll do in the event, we'll say in the external API, send the data to external API, which is create new product via modal popup. Okay, so a success message once it's done, and after that probably close the model and reload the page. We'll say maybe you will just close the model and reload the page. So I'll say close model, okay, which is fine, and after that in the navigation we'll say page reload. So this event will basically send the data, close the model, reload the page. Now let's bind this event to the collection form in the modal popup. So I'll go to create new product, okay, and bind this event. We will need one more event to basically open that particular model, so which we'll create after this. The form is here. I'll go to the collection form settings. In the event, I'll just choose this event, create new product via modal popup. Okay, this is it. Now we need to bind a couple of events to close and event to open the model. So I'll just go and create new events. So let's create open, create new product popup. Okay, create. So what it will do, it will just open the modal popup. I'll just show model, which model, create new product model. That's all. Let's create one more event, which is close model. Okay, so this is a generic event where you don't need to select it which model to close. So you'll just go and close model. That's all. It will close whatever model is open. So I'll go back again and let's bind the close event to the cross button and the cancel button, so that if someone click the cross button, it should close the modal popup. So I'll bind the close event here. So in the workflow event, I'll say close model, which is fine. And in the cancel button also, I'll say close model. So this will just close. Form submit, we've already done it. Okay, so it will submit the form, close the model and reload the page. Now let's go to the list page and create a button to basically open this model. So as of now, if you see, we have this page where there is no way to create new products. So this create new products basically takes to the create new product page. Now we are implementing the same flow using modal popups. So let's come to this page and drop a link or a button so that we can bind an event. So let's say here, I'll say in the workflow event, open create new modal popup. Okay, and I'll just change the name to create product via model. Okay, change the classes. Again, this is optional. I'm just changing it so that it looks nice. Okay, but you can just choose whatever classes you want. So DrapCode supports a complete like bootstrap framework, so you can use any bootstrap classes which you like. Okay, so this is done. Let's reload the page. So this button is here. As soon as I click this button, it will open the model which we have created. Okay, so it has created this. This should close the model, which is working fine. This should also close the model. This is fine. Open it. Now let's create a new product. Okay, let's try to increase the width of this model. This is not looking good. Let's try to increase the width of this model. Okay, so as of now it is like this. Let me see. Okay, so there's a padding of 30 everywhere, so let's change it to 10. Okay, this is fine. So model content. Okay, so I think the maximum width is 500 pixel. I'll say 60%. Okay, now this is good. So it will take 60% of the page width. Just move it here. That's it. I don't need this button. I'll just close this. Okay, and change it to create new product. These are all just cosmetic changes, so you can ignore it. So I'll create. Okay, so now there's a bit different model. So let's create product. So let's see what all products we have. We already have products 17653. Okay, so let's create something new. Product pop-up 1. Price, let's say 360. Description, some description, and manufacturing date 4th of November, and I submit it. So as soon as I submit it, it will just save this data or push this data to Supabase, close this model and reload the page. So I just submit, save the page, shown the success matches, reloaded the page, and the data is here. Okay, so this is the data which is now created. So let's go to Supabase and see. I'll just refresh. So the product which we just created through a model pop-up is here, and if we go and check in the DrapCode collection, there should not be any product because DrapCode is not storing anything. There is nothing which is getting persisted. Everything is coming in the real time directly from Supabase. So this completes the create flow. Let's implement the edit flow. So it is very simple, very straightforward. So we'll just create one more model. Say edit product in model, which is fine. I'll say a model pop-up. Now it is asking me to choose a collection. So I'll say product collection. From where the data will come? So the data will come from an external API, and we already have an API which basically fetch a single record or a single detail, which is fetch individual product details. So we are going to reuse the API. If you want to see how that API works, you can watch another video which is given in the description. So basically it will fetch the individual details. So it's a very simple get API call, which is basically calling this particular API to read rows, right? And we are calling this API where it is fetching an individual row. Sorry, not this one, but this one. It is fetching a individual record on the basis of the ID, and this ID we are passing dynamically. If you want to see how this looks like, so let's go to external APIs and see here. So this is the API which we are using to fetch the details of an individual record and just passing the ID as a parameter from the table, right? So it is basically fetching the details of that particular record and showing the form pre-filled. So I will not build this API again. So what this API is doing, it is fetch the product details, a get call, a URL to fetch data, a dynamic parameter. This dynamic parameter is coming from non-persist collection PID, and once the response comes, it is basically mapping it to a non-persisted database item and doing the mapping of these keys. So basically name, description, price, so that we can show the data pre-filled on the model pop-up, right? Or on the edit form. So this is what we will be going to fetch. After that, we'll make an API call to update. Okay, so let's create an external API to update the record. So let's say update product details via model pop-up. Okay, so let's see the documentation. So here it is insert update. So this is what we are going to use, and this is the URL. So let's copy the URL. Here this is dynamic, so it is asking me that which column we'll need to identify the record in Supabase. So we will do it with ID. So I'll say ID, and here I'll just pass a dynamic parameter. Let's call it ID, and we'll give the value here non-persist collection which is product and ID. This I'll explain in a bit, okay, why we are doing this. But before that, let's complete all these things. So we have given the URL, we have given the call. So I think it's a patch call. So I'll just mark it as patch. In the headers, we need to set these two parameters, which is API key, which is this. Other is authorization, which is bearer and the token. Okay, so header is complete. Now we need to pass the parameters to the body. So it is asking that whatever fields you want to update, just send the value. So that is what patch do. Patch does not update everything. It just update the values for the fields or for the columns for which the value is coming. So let's say we want to pass all of them. So we'll just copy the names from here, which is name. In our collection form, the name will come in the field name. Okay, then description. Then price. Then manufacturing date, okay, which will come from the form in the manufacturing date column. So that's all what we need to do, and this ID will get replaced so that it will update that particular record. And then I'll just say save setting. We don't want to process the response because we're not displaying the response anywhere. We are just going to reload the page. So now what we will do, we will create an event. So previously we created an event to open create model. Now we'll say open update model, update product model. Okay, I'll say create. So here we'll say in the model show model, which is edit product model, one event. We'll need one more event to basically send the updated data to Supabase. So I'll say update product in Supabase via modal popup. This is fine. What we want to do, as soon as someone update, send the data to Supabase. Which API? Update product details popup. Okay. After that, what we'll say just close the modal popup. So I'll say close popup. After that, we'll say just reload the page. So in the navigation, page reload. Okay, so basically send the data to Supabase, close the model and reload the page. So now let's go and bind this event to the edit model popup. So this is edit model. We have not created a form, so let's go and drop a collection form. So it has generated the form. Let's bind the event, which is update product in Supabase via modal popup. Okay, to this close, I'll just bind the event to close model, which is fine. Here also I'll bind to close model. I'll remove this. Okay, so the close model is done. Now we want to show the data pre-filled. That is one thing. So I think that we have already done with the settings. So here in the advanced setting, we'll say, sorry, here bind collection externally by fetch data. Okay, so we have already done it, but we are saying whenever this model opens, make a call to Supabase, bring the data of this particular item and bind it to the edit form so that the data gets pre-filled when editing. Now the only thing is remaining is to open this model pop-up on click of a button in list page. So I'll go to my home. Okay. So here what we'll do, we'll just drop one more button. I'll say link. Okay, so I'll go to the event and say bind this particular event. Open update product model. That's all. Okay, just change the link to, let's say, update via model. Okay, remove these classes are optional, so I'll just leave it as it is. Just to make them nice, we apply these classes. Okay, btnsm. That's all. So what this button will do, it will open the model pop-up. The pop-up will make a call to Supabase, show the data pre-filled, and once we hit the submit button, it will send the data to Supabase and update that particular record. So let's see how that works. I'll reload this page. There should be one more button now. And this is how the button looks like. So the button is not looking good, so let's apply some CSS classes and reload the page again. Okay, so now I'll just reload the page. So the button is here. It should open a pop-up with these values pre-filled, and if I submit this, it should update the value in Supabase. So let's update product 6. It is showing pre-filled, and let's change it to 666, 666. Let's say instead of 240, 2400, and submit. So it has updated the records and then reloaded the page. Okay, so let's go and check in Supabase. So this is my Supabase. Let me reload. Right, so you see now the product 6 has changed to 6666 and text 666. And here also, if you see, the updated data is coming. Right, so this is basically how you implement a create and edit flow in a modal pop-up in Supabase. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you again in the next video. Bye bye.